My name is Josh Hall, and I'm the fleet captain for the Airbus fleet at American Airlines. And while we get our AV caught up, I'd like to two personal notes. So I'm the son of an American Airlines captain, Don Hall, hired in 1965, retired in 98. I was still in the house, so he retired out of Seattle, Washington, flying the MD-11 to Seattle. And so they retired, had a wonderful time. Tragically, he passed in 2006 due to a heart attack. And a few months later, my new bride and my mom went on a Great Eagles cruise down in Cabo in 2006. And so the love and outpouring that this organization gave to my mom during that hard time, she still talks about it today. She's down here visiting. She still talks about the support that this organization gave to her in that difficult time back in 2006. So I wanted to thank you all. You've got a terrific organization here. Keep supporting each other, and I look forward to joining you sometime, maybe not too soon, but in the near future. So thank you very much. And I want to recognize Jock Bethune because he helped me start my journey at American Airlines. It's kind of a longish story, but somehow through the internet and social media, LinkedIn, we got in touch because of the connection we had with my dad. He got me lined up with the right people, and I was able to get hired in 2014 at the beginning of the hiring wave. So thank you very much, Jock. My family, we all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude. So thank you very much.
Glad you're here. You've done well. You've done well.
Before I came, I was hired into Dallas on the Super 80 drivers. What a fantastic airplane for somebody to come from TAC Air to start on. It was fantastic. I flew with longtime captains who taught me so much, and I still use today what I learned from those captains. So after that, I transitioned over to the Airbus. I was working in the FOCA office as an APA safety representative, FOCA gatekeeper. After that, I ended up in the IOC as a duty pilot. So the big command center that's on the GSW campus. Everything happens in that, everything comes together in the operation in that command center. And at one point, there was no pilot representative in there at all. So they thought that was something that was lacking. So they decided to hire 8 of us. And at one at a time, we would be 1 versus 15,000 in that command center. And they just said, do good things, help the pilots, help the operation. And that's what we did. So we tried to do that. I was then hired in as a tech pilot on the A320. That was for 3 years. Then I taught for 3 years on the 320, and now I'm back as the fleet captain. The fleet captain's in charge of the policies and procedures, and I give it to my training contemporary here. I write it, and he teaches it. That's it. You want to introduce yourself now, and then I'll jump into that.
I don't have any stories like Josh. Mine's not that personal. I will say, maybe remember Jim Dees?
Yeah.
Okay. Good bet. He hired me as the chief pilot in Dallas, and I didn't want that to go south. And I remember him and Alan Johnson going to Great Eagles lunches with Ken Goins, and I was 37 years old and I never got invited. So I go to the PLM dinners, and it's always been like this thing to me. I'm like, when am I going to be part of this group that I've heard so much about? So when Charlie approached me during one of the PLM dinners, I went home with my wife, and she's like, why are you so excited? I'm like, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this. So nowhere near as personal, but I'm super excited to be here. Hopefully I don't screw it up. So quick history on me, I'm a 2008 hire. I came from the bankrupt side of the airline. As I always joke. So I was kind of hired in. But former regional guy, 5 airlines. Since being American, I've been a 737, 300, 400 guy. Been a captain on the 800, now the Airbus. Was a check pilot on the 190 and a check pilot on the Airbus. Been a chief pilot. I ran some SMS stuff. Then last year worked with Josh to run our largest fleet and our best fleet at the airline. Josh and I are both reformed Boeing pilots. We always like to say we've given up flying and traded flying for comfort. But in all seriousness, we love our fleet, and it's been a pleasure to work with Josh. And I am stepping out of that role, so I'm in a new job now. I'm our Director of Standards and AQP, but still kind of getting my replacement spooled up. This was as of a week ago, so he couldn't make it, otherwise he'd be here with us too. So should we get started?
Yeah.
All right, back to Josh.
All right. Thanks, Tony. The fleet captain, flight training manager relationship is so critical in supporting the fleet, supporting the pilots, advancing the training and the procedures that we have for a safe airline to safely transport our passengers. So I'd like to thank Tony for all of his support as he moves on to his new role. So, like Tony said, Airbus fleet, largest narrow body operator in the world is what the American Airlines Airbus fleet is. There's some numbers for our current fleet. Totals 484 narrow body Airbus airplanes, and that includes our newly delivered XLR, which I had the distinct honor and pleasure of flying back nonstop from Germany to Dallas last Wednesday. So we've got those numbers right there. We have 85 NEOs, 219 conventional engine options. So NEO means new engine option, CO means conventional engine option, 321s, and then 320s and 319s. The plan is not to park any of these airplanes. Some of our oldest airplanes are about 25 years old, and there is a fleet life extension program that's going to take them out another 10 years. They're updating the interiors, they're updating the avionics, they're updating the radios. They're putting tremendous amount of effort to keep these airplanes flying because we need the lift and we want the lift. So that's what the current status of the fleet is. Here is, so there's our count, and I wanted to do a little bit of comparison because we're really talking about the XLR here. So our one XLR, compared to the 321 NEO, those are the airplanes that currently fly from Phoenix to Hawaii. Is an important mission that it does that is getting towards the edge of its range. It has 52,000 pounds of gas on it, and our new XLR's got 70,000 pounds of gas. And that is a really big number, and it's been interesting during this delivery onboarding of this airplane, where that number has been a challenge because we have apps that help us with our vertical profiles. We can use them to use real-time environmental data for our vertical profile, but you have to put in the fuel state. Well, I went to deliver this airplane, I said 70,000 pounds of gas, and he goes, no, that's out of range, you can't use it, you can't do it. So we find all these little things that we have to continuously refine to make way for this new airplane with its new capabilities. Advertised max range, 4,700 miles. It was 4,600 miles from Germany to Dallas. We landed with 10,000 pounds of gas. Yes, it was an empty airplane, so you put 25,000 pounds of people and cargo in that thing. 47 might be a little bit optimistic, but it's got some legs on it, which is great. Okay, so here is our delivery schedule. It says 321NY up there. A little story with that. That's actually the name of the airplane. NY, that's what it's registered at. When you look at the registration, it's 321NY. XLR is just a marketing name for it, but it was so catchy and it just rolls off your tongue that I've lost the fight to make sure that everybody was calling it the NY. Everybody's calling it the XLR, and I'm like, I'm fine. That's all good. So by the end of this year, we will have 5 XLRs on the ops spec. We're expecting another 12 next year, but we're going to get another 10 of our NEO NX airplanes. And so you can see as we go forward, we'll have a total of 40 XLRs, and then we have, as of right now, about 100 NX orders. That'll take us out past 2030. So that's over 600 narrow-body airplanes. That's a lot. So that's what the delivery schedule is right now. We will take delivery, bring home another XLR in December. That'll be it until about April, and then we're going to get all those in the middle to the second half of 2026. So here's the XLR. This is a picture from the forward galley. You can see 1F right there, and that's forward looking back at our first class suites, 20 flagship suites. they're actually really nice. I was cautiously optimistic, but then we rode back. I took my rest in these seats. They're a hair snug for a guy with my build, but certainly comfortable. And it has all the nice amenities. It's got a nice big monitor for your movies. It has wireless charging for your cell phone. And I thought the coolest thing was when the lights were down, it's got all the backlighting that you have in cars, the backlights under the dash. And as you start to roll the seat out and go horizontal, all those lights dim, and then it goes completely dark on the inside of the suite. Which I know it's a little thing, but it's the little things that amuse me, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm easily amused.
Is it a lie flat?
It is a lie flat seat, and then right here are the suite doors that come out, and then they go across. Now you can see the suite. Your back is to the outside wall, to the window. So that's a little bit different than what we currently have on our wide body fleets, where you're next to the aisle and your feet go outboard. You start outboard and your feet go inboard. And I'll show you what a slight challenge of that is here in a few slides. So the suites are really nice. It goes back to 12 premium economy seats. I'll have a picture here in a second, and then 123 main cabin seats. So we've got these big first-class suites in the forward part of the airplane. Just remember that. We'll talk about that here in a second. So here are some pictures. This is the premium economy seats here, and then the coach seats, main cabin extra with the gray headrests, and then the standard coach seats as you go all the way back. There's a lav in the front and then 3 lavs in the back. It's a really nice product. So as fleet captain, I'm in charge of the onboarding of this airplane for flight operations, but it is a whole company concept. The whole company is coming together to make sure that we onboard this airplane safely, efficiently, and it's ready to go to take care of our passengers. So I'm in charge of the documentation for the operating procedures and the ETOPS validation. I work with my training partners. Tony's going to talk to you about how we got the check pilots ready for this, which is a really awesome story. And then I'm also working closely with in-flight as well for the evacuation mini ditching to support our in-flight team. But it's maintenance, it's maintenance publications, it's airports, it's everything. All work groups are represented to make sure that we onboard this successfully. So I just threw this picture in here. This is the avionics. So on the left, that's a 777. So Tony's going to talk about our check pilot training. And so we were going Philly, Edinburgh, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we were coming back on our first flight back from Edinburgh, and we were at about 20 West. We'd just gotten into Shanwick's airspace, and we have a thing called a CDTI, Cockpit Display of Traffic Information. We can see out about 40 miles and see call signs around us. It's kind of like TCAS, but it's an enhanced TCAS if you want to think about it. And we saw, this is AA 70, I think, Dallas to London. And we saw them come in. It was a really close pass, 1,000-foot vertical and maybe a half mile, and I was able to snap a really quick picture of them. And I laughed to myself because I think the pilots are like, was that a no, and then they just keep going. So it just kind of cracked me up. So we're out there now. And this is a look at the CPDLC screen. So standard FMGC here, and then our CPDLC comes through a different screen right there. It was late last night as I was putting these slides together, so there might not be like really good continuity to the presentation. So just bear with me. We'll figure it out. Our next step, we've delivered the airplane now. The in-flight group has to do their mini ditching evacuation demonstration. Flight supports that because they need pilots to call for the test briefing, to call for the evacuation, those kind of things. So we're supporting that team. What we do is the airplane is currently, the XLR 303 is currently in DWH hangar, and next month we get everybody on board. The FAA comes on board, in flight, 2 pilots, 5 flight attendants for this 321, and we simulate an accident on takeoff. So we go through the whole briefing, boarding process, closing the door, buttoning everything up. Flight attendants prepare for takeoff, and then the FAA pulls the power to simulate an accident. The pilots are simulated incapacitated, or maybe not simulated incapacitated. They're incapacitated. And the flight attendants have to demonstrate that they're able to get up, deploy the slides in a certain amount of time under just the emergency lighting. So that's a picture of our first NX400 doing this exact demonstration 6 years ago, I guess. I was there for that, so time's starting to whiz by. Once we do that and are successful, then we move on to the second phase, which is an emergency in cruise that will necessitate the preparation for a ditching. So we do the whole onboarding, takeoff, climb up to cruise. Ladies and gentlemen, we've reached our cruising altitude. The seatbelt sign's coming off, blah, blah, blah. And then a few minutes later, we hit the emergency chime, four chimes, and we start going through the test briefing. Let the flight attendants know they got 20 minutes and to prepare for a ditch. And then the flight attendants prepare the cabin, run through their whole checklist. It takes about 20 minutes for them to go all the way through their ditching preparation. They call the flight deck back and say, hey, we're done. The FAA observes in the back. They say yes or no, and we go from there. And then the last thing that we do is we're going to take one of these rafts that we deployed earlier off, and then we have to build the shelter over the top of it, and we have to go through all the emergency equipment with the FAA inspectors. They go and say, what's that mirror for? And you say, well, this is a signaling mirror, and you do it like this. So they go through all of the emergency equipment. We demonstrate that we can use crew resource management to build the shelter on the raft, and then that's it. That's the mini ditching evacuation demonstration that we do. We're going to do it on the 19th of November at the DWH hangar. It takes about all day, and that's one of the last big hurdles we have to get over with the FAA, with the certification, adding this to our ops specs before we can start service on the 19th of December. Okay. We'll start flying in December, and then in preparation for North Atlantic service in March. My role is to do the ETOPS validation piece of this. So when do you're like, well, we've already been flying North Atlantic and we're already flying the Airbus to Hawaii. Why do we need to do anything special for this? Well, according to the FAA ops specs, the 8900 document is what it's called, the FAA approval for ETOPS operation is airframe, engine specific, and AOR specific. So we currently are flying 321s with LEAP-1A engines to Hawaii, but that's a different AOR than what we're going to need to do for Europe. So North Atlantic will have to certify this airplane on North Atlantic operations. So in January, we'll do a tabletop demonstration for the FAA. They'll run it, and that's, we get into the big conference room in the command center. We say, okay, we're going to do this flight, Kennedy to Paris. They generate a flight plan. The FAA looks at the flight plan, make sure it's good to go. They do simulate that they're doing all their pre-departure checks, filling out the maintenance logs. The pilots have their qualifications. We get ready to go, and then they give us a series of challenges that we have to fight through, either mechanical challenges or weather challenges or whatever, and work together as a team to demonstrate that we're ready to do this in real life. And once the FAA is satisfied, then we will actually do a ETOPS validation flight targeted for 27 January, where we will take the airplane once again, whatever city pair we decide to do, and fly it over, and then lay over, and then fly it back with the FAA on board demonstrating flight and in-flight's ready to go. And then there will also be FAA inspectors back in the IOC that will inspect the dispatch piece of it, the load planning piece of it, the maintenance piece of it. They're watching the data connection of the engines to the mainframe computer back. They're checking all of this stuff to make sure we're ready to go. So there's a lot that goes into that, but we've been flying ETOPS for a long time. We'll just make sure that all of our ducks are in a row and we're ready to go. And then once that's complete, then we'll be ready for start of service in March of 26. So, A321NY unique challenges. So here's some of the unique challenges that we've had to deal with the 321. So the 737 has a tow bar. The A321 or the Airbus has a tow bar, but Airbus offers a service bulletin where they'll modify your airplane to make it common with the 737 tow bar, and that's what we've done for the last 30 years. Now, this airplane, because of the gross weight, that service bulletin is no longer an option, so these airplanes are going to come with a 1.5-inch lug on the nose gear, where all of our other airplanes have a 3/4-inch lug, and it takes a different tow bar. And so we're going to start from Kennedy to LA. Well, Kennedy's got tow bars, LA's got tow bars. This is what the Tech House folks were telling me about. Yeah, but what about Omaha? What about Oak City? What about Tulsa? What about Memphis? What about Denver? And they're like, we'll get back to you. So we're working through the organization of our airport partners to make sure that they're ready for us, not only on our departure and arrival stations, but intermediate stations where we maybe have to divert for whatever reason. So that's been a challenge. What's that? PRM passengers with restricted mobility. So we talked about the first class seats. You're sitting outboard, your feet are inboard. So if you have restricted mobility and you need assistance into your seat, there's no way for them to access the first class seat. They can't set you down in the seat. So what they've done, and it's a little hard to see this, they have built a contraption, basically a cherry picker that you pull your engine out of your Chevy with. It expands, it goes up, you're in your wheelchair in between this, it hoists you up. You can see the dummy is in the hoist. The legs fore and aft go into the suites fore and aft of your seat. It goes in there and it sets you down in your seat. What could go wrong? So Tony had a great question. What about the bathroom breaks and cruise? We're not going to answer that question. So these things will live at the stations. Yeah. So we'll just leave it at that. Okay. So that's one of the challenges with these suites is passengers with restricted mobility. Now there's going to be a customer service component of this, where if you buy a ticket and you tell them that you have restricted mobility, they're going to go through this whole scenario with you. So it shouldn't be a surprise once you get to the airport. All right. So now CG issues with those first class seats. The normal so JetBlue has first class suites on their 321s. There's some other airlines. Those weigh about 80 kilos. And they generally have about 10 of them. Ours will weigh about 120 kilos, and we have 20 of them. So it moves the CG far forward. When you have a full boat of passengers, not a big deal. If you have a lighter load, or maybe just first class passengers and limited coach passengers, that could be a problem. So we're having to stand up a ballast program where they have ballast at the stations to anticipate this. This is creating, there's tremendous visibility on this CG issue, this challenge, to make sure that we're not hosing over our first class passengers. So there's dashboards, there's visibility, there's analysis 48 hours prior, 24 hours prior, but it's one of the challenges with having one of these airplanes. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be fun. And then training with the Drains airplane.
Can I tell the story about the 71?
Please do.
Okay, so I'm taking a training story here. I wanted to tell you, it's the bottom one. So these airplanes have the new radios, Drains radios, they're digital radios. We can type it in rather than the rheostats, right? So we currently have 4 of these Drains capable airplanes on the property right now, and we wanted to use these for our check pilot training that Tony's going to talk about. So I asked the IOC, please get one of these airplanes on this check pilot training for me so they can see these radios. Most of them have not. So they said, great, 471 is going to be your airplane. They told me 2 days prior that this is going to be our airplane. Awesome. Watching it, the day prior, it was supposed to end up in Philly. Jeff Craddock, former check pilot lead, great guy. I said, hey man, this is what's going on. You're flying this airplane from Dallas to San Francisco. Please check out all the long-range communication systems on this. Okay, he's like, awesome, on it. goes to San Francisco. He gives me a call. He's like, hey, good news and bad news. Good news and bad news. CPDLC worked great. HF worked great. Cell call worked great. What else? Sat phone worked great. Internet worked great. But when we pulled up to the gate, the number one blew the 1L slide, and now the slide is deployed, and we don't know when we're going to get this airplane back into service. So it's been like that every time I turn around. There's some fun little challenge that we get to sort through. But they got us a new airplane. Everything was fine. They deployed this, got the slide off there, deployed the airplane. They got it back into service. It was fine. But that's just one of my highlights of that whole thing. So here is the lug that I'm talking about with the nose gear right here. This is the 1.5 inch lug. Every other airplane has a 3/4 inch lug. That's the challenge with the tow bars. And then we had a challenge with our seating. So the first 3 airplanes that we bought didn't have interiors in them. Airbus is like, it's not our fault that these interiors are screwed up. It's Collins. We want our money. So I went over there, did the test flight, and this is what was in the back. There was no CG problem with this airplane. So we have 3 of these airplanes that we've purchased from Airbus in Hamburg. After we've purchased them, we own them, but now they're in this nebulous range where we own them, but we're not maintaining them, and guess where they are? They're in the Czech Republic at this little itty bitty airport on the eastern side of the country in the town of Ostrava, Mazanov. So they're being stored here, right here at this MRO. Once Airbus, now that we've purchased a line, what we call a line fit interior airplane, where they put it on the line, they will create the service bulletin for the retrofit of the interior, and they will retrofit those airplanes with the interior in the Czech Republic, and we will go and get them out of the Czech Republic and fly them back here to Dallas. So we'll do that probably March, April of next year. So that's what's going on with that. So I think we're kind of close to the end here. So XLR deliveries, my team has the pleasure of doing the XLR deliveries. So we go to Hamburg, about the first 20 are going to come out of Hamburg, and that's in the, for those of you that, right there, northern part of Hamburg, just south of, or Germany, just south of Denmark. So those are cool. Our team gets to go do those acceptance ground checks. It's really neat because we get to push all the buttons that you learn about in training, but never ever get to push. So we shut engines down with fire lights, we turn them back on, we disconnect IEGs, we drop the rat, we do all this really cool stuff that you never get to do in normal line operations. And so my team gets to do that. Then we take it up for a flight acceptance check. That's about an hour and a half. We'll check, we do a TOGA takeoff with an empty airplane, which is a lot of fun. We take it up to altitude. We do what's a flight control authority check. So the airplane is limited to 30 degrees up, 15 degrees down, and 60 degrees of bank, and we test each one of that envelope as we're climbing up. We get up to altitude, we drop the masks, we depressurize the airplane, or turn the packs off to test the depressurization rate. We test all the communications, then we come down, do emergency gear extension, do a slow speed check, simulated go around, come back around and land. Really a lot of fun. That takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours actually. And so we get to do that. Now, some of you might have heard that the FAA is shut down. Well, when we buy an airplane, we have to put it on our D85 op specs, which means it's an American Airlines airplane. We have to put it on our RVSM op specs, which means it can fly in RVSM airspace. This one has internet security, IT security protocol on it. We have to get it added to that op specs. And there's one else I can't remember, but it was 4 op specs from 4 different departments that we had to somehow get them to sign that op spec to get it on American, turn it into an American Airlines airplane. Then we had to get a registration and a flywire, which is somebody in Oak City at the end of the day hits a button, and it's a registration that goes to wherever you do when you buy an airplane internationally that says you can fly this airplane back to the United States. So all those offices had to come together, and it actually worked. I don't know, it was amazing. So Last Wednesday, we had the pleasure of flying this thing back. We get out to the airplane, so we thought it was going to be Friday, and we had to come back earlier. It was Wednesday. We get out to the airplane the next morning. They're like, nav database isn't loading. We give them our American Airlines nav database. Airbus guys are like, yeah, it's not loading. I'm like, okay. Can we put the Airbus database on there? They're like, yeah, we can put the Airbus database on there. And I was like, what's on it? I don't know. Well, I'm about to fly this thing 11 hours across the North Atlantic. I'd like to know what's on it. And they're like, well, I asked 3 people the different questions. One said it was just a domestic CONUS Europe nav database. Not a good answer. One person said it's a worldwide database, and then the other person said, I don't know what's on it. So we get out to the airplane. We put direct DFW in there. Worked. Okay, DFW's in here. We're good to go. We can work with everything else. Then we get on there and they're like, no ACARs. So, what is no ACARs? They loaded our ACARs. It's a new type of computer. The software wasn't compatible, so we're like, there's no ACARs on this airplane. Well, does the SATCOM phone work? The SAT phone works, so that was good. That's how we kept in touch with dispatch, and it was time to go. And we didn't realize the amount of visibility and hoopla that the company put on this delivery, because we were leaving at 9 a.m. scheduled. We ended up leaving at noon. That's about 9 a.m. when we're waking up back here in Dallas. The American Airlines put this on the cover of their JetNet. Click link here to view this on FlightAware, and we had internet until we coasted out. And one of our, we had some global comms people come with us, and they said, there are 20,000 people watching this flight on FlightAware. Right? Well, no pressure. I'm glad we decided to leave. I didn't realize any of this was going on. So they made hay out of this. Another thing, since we got delayed, the airspace in Holland was closed for military traffic, so we had to get back with dispatch. We had to let them know what was going on. They had to refile us. We had to get a new clearance, and that took us up over Denmark, and then west, and then coast out to Shanwick, north of Ireland. Everything else worked great. The ADSC worked great. CPDLC worked great. We didn't have ACARs. We didn't have internet once we left Europe, Europe, but that was fine. We didn't really need that. Sat phone worked, which is what we needed to do. And it turned out to be an 11-hour, 15-minute flight, direct, 6,400 miles. Landed with 10,000 pounds of gas, so we had a little extra for mom and the kids, and it was awesome. So beautiful day back here in Dallas. They took some pictures of us that they threw on the internet. I don't know if you all have seen those, but we were very, very happy to be back in Dallas after that delivery. So, what else we got?
Oh, IPSP.
All right, so here's another thing that's coming for us, is the installed physical secondary barrier. So on the left-hand side is the picture from the forward galley into the flight deck. You can see the flight deck door is open. And now they have required that we have this secondary barrier, which is this stowed right here and this deployed right here. And it's
to get into the lab.
I'm sorry?
So you can get into the laboratory.
You can get into the lab, yeah. But if you're holding trays, it's very, very tight in there. So every single airplane, Boeing and Airbus, from now on, will have one of these installed. Depending on what the configuration of the cabin, the 737 is able to make it aft of the forward galley in front of the first class passengers, so that blocks off the galley. The way our monuments are set up in the galley, we don't have that option currently, and this is what we have right now. So that's another exciting little thing coming to an airplane near you. I think I'm out of time.
You sure? Keep talking.
I want to give it to my training partner, Tony. I know that I kind of got carried away there, but there's just been a lot going on, and I really appreciate your attention. Well, before I give it to Tony, any questions for me before I... Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay. Yes, sir, right there.
Will there be tariffs on foreign-built aircraft?
Not right now. So we had a tariff mitigation plan, but apparently whatever deal was just struck, we're not paying tariffs on this airplane. Our tariff mitigation plan prior to that, and this was 2 months ago, was to just fly these airplanes internationally, and then if we just flew them internationally for whatever reason, we weren't going to have to pay a tariff on them, and so we were setting up something like Kennedy to Aruba to fly these airplanes, which great, you know, but we wouldn't have to pay a tariff. But right now there's no tariffs, and we're back to Plan A. Just yell it out here.
What routes off of the East Coast do you think they'll be putting on initially?
They're throwing everything against the wall to see if it sticks. If they can make money with it, there's two things that they're going to try to do. They're going to try to supplement 7-8 flying in the winter when the demand drops off, and then they're also going to try to connect non-traditional city pairs. So anything that's reachable, we're looking at, from Helsinki to Zurich to Paris to Edinburgh to any of those places.
Is it going to be Philly and Charlotte? Or?
So it's initially Kennedy. We've opened a bid status for LaGuardia International, Kennedy, to train the initial group, and I'll let Tony talk about this, but it'll start spreading from there.
What about the engine?
It's great.
Is it a LEAP 1A?
It's a LEAP 1A.
So it's the same as a Neo?
It's the same engine as a Neo. Yes, you're exactly right. Yes, sir.
I've heard rumors that we may be approaching VHF over the water and eliminating the CPDLC.
Satellite-based VHF. I think
Yes.
that's still a few years away.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they have such good connectivity on us, knowing where we are position-wise over the North Atlantic now with satellite-based ADS-C. But that's CPDLC. That's all that stuff is coming. So they're really able to reduce the separation that some of you might have remembered, and I can't remember the numbers, but we're really able to. They have good connectivity on us.
How are these people going to get paid? Are they going to get paid narrow body? Are they going to get? I mean, what's the pay scale? I know everybody would be if we were actively flying.
I'll let Tony talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Very well, they will be.
Yeah.
But not the same as a wide body count.
Correct.
It's not Group 4 pay. Yeah.
Well, then,
Where's the access to the crew rest compartment?
So that's a great question. The crew rest facility is the last row of coach on the captain's side, and it will be soundproofing blank out panels that you can assemble to make combined with a suite door, a Class 2 rest facility. Or if you don't have that or you don't need it, then it's a Class 3 rest facility.
You said the last row of coach?
Last row of first class.
Oh.
Oh.
that's what we always get.
No, the flight attendants have the last row of coach. Yes, last row of first class, 10A. And so it's got these blank out panels, which are not certified yet. We don't have them installed yet, but they will. I call it the pillow fort. It's not. That's not what it is, but that's what it kind of looks like. All right.
So wasn't this then, you must have been saving a lot of money, or that you wouldn't have bought some more 787s to avoid all these intricacies of problems and so forth.
Yeah, this is a very efficient airplane, and it's going to be very targeted to specific markets that a 7.8 can't support. And so, yeah, they want to make money with this thing.
But it's only 155 passengers.
Correct.
And you fly long haul in a single aisle.
Yeah.
That's right. 11 hours.
Now, if you want to fly that one.
Hire me?
Make that big.
Yes, sir.
You said no internet over the ocean?
No, that was for the delivery. We didn't have all of the antenna was installed. We had like the generic delivery internet, so it will be internet connectivity all the way across, and installed videos at every seat, monitors.
So, separate flight deck and
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So, and we tested this on the test flights. We had connectivity all the way across, which was great. We all these different apps for turbulence and efficiency that we can use the entire way. Anybody else? Way in the back. No, 11 hour is the very edge of that range. I don't expect any Dallas to Europe. I would expect your East Coast to Europe, and then look for Miami deep south as well in the future once we get.
That's a lot of gas.
Yeah, yeah. So 10,000 pounds of gas in a it was an empty airplane in Dallas is not that we don't really bristle at that on most days.
What's the fuel burn? Did you already say that?
It's about 3,000 pounds a side and cruise a little bit depending on the weight.
What's service ceiling and speed?
It's 7. We were cruising at 7.9. We can get VMO is 8.2. And you can go up to 39. This day on our delivery, we took off at 200K. We went to 34 first, then 36, then 38 once we got over Canada. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Here's Tony.